Welcome to Asian Media Network and to the second episode of the weekly talk show Guide to ParenTea. I'm Miley, your co-host, and I'm so excited to continue this journey with you. This show is a beacon for parents, especially Asian American parents and those who are in the multicultural family who strive to build a strong, loving relationship with their children in a diverse and ever-evolving landscape of America. Each week, we will dive into the dynamic challenge faced by parents as they raise their children. We will explore the delicate dance of preserving the rich cultural heritage while adapting to the value of modern society. And of course, none of these could be possible without our co-host, Dr. Khanh Tran. Welcome, Dr. Khanh Tran, back to the show.
Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to continue the journey, and I appreciate you inviting me back onto the show.
Well, Dr. Khanh Tran, we should have the first episode, and we received a lot of positive feedback from the viewer, especially the parent, and they want to see more and more of the guidance and support from you to make their parenting job easier. And when you talk about parenting, like any field, we can go to school to become a nail technician, an accountant, an engineer. We got a degree for that. There's school offer teaching that. But for parenting, there's no such school. So how do the parent adapt it to the ever-changing environment in the modern society and still want to raise their kid in a loving, respectful, carry on the cultural heritage? And for that, you are here to provide the guidance and support. Before we start the show, let's have some tea. Because tea time in our Asian culture is every time when you go visit somebody, they invite you to drink some tea, right? And today, Dr. Khanh Tran, I would like you to try some Vietnamese tea. It's called Trà Tuyết Sang. It's a very special tea. It's from up high mountain all the way in northern of Vietnam. Some of the tree, they have year of like over 300 years. And this tea is very special. So hold up your cup and let's toast for tea time. You also have some tea. So what kind of tea you like to drink?
Well, I have a variety I like, but my overall favorite would be jasmine tea.
Oh, I love jasmine too because it's light delicacy, but it also have a very nice fragrance. So I love jasmine tea as well. Yep. But you have to try the Trà Tuyết Sang Vietnamese tea. Is the original and also the consider on the different category of tea is one of the rare and precious tea produced by Vietnam. So now that we have some tea time, let's talk a little bit more into the parenting, some tip that you have, maybe some essential tip to be a good parent. Maybe Dr. Khanh Tran, you can give us some of the tips after 18 years working with the parent and the family.
Absolutely. There are many things that when I consider essential parenting skills that we can practice to make ourselves better parents, better meaning conscious parents. Some are practical skills. For example, probably at the top of the list, listening. Now, the brand of listening or the type of listening I'm referring to is empathic listening. So listening where you are just paying attention to the child and whatever arises, whatever the child is sharing with us, we're not judging that as wrong or right. or even if we are judging that, which is a natural human tendency, is to judge the things. What we do is just we're aware of our opposition. In other words, we may disagree with what the child is saying, but what is important is we understand what the child's saying. So that would be on top of the list.
So that means, do we interpretation from what the child said? Because the child can come up with all crazy idea, right? For example, sometime that I think the other day you give an example that their kid mind is so creative and they can just say anything that come into that mindset. Why the parent mindset is so busy with other responsibility, with job, with a lot of responsibility the parent carry on. So maybe the time to really listen to the children and interpret what they say and just be a good listener. So that's tip number one.
I want to make this clear. Our lives are very busy, but it is important too, as a conscious parent, to realize that the child's life is very busy too. And the busiest thing they can do is called growing up, which takes a lot of effort, a lot of energy to try to figure out how to adapt to a world that may not be entirely pleasant. And on top of that, they have to go to school all day. They have to wake up early like us. They come home. They have to do their chores. After that, they get the privilege of doing their homework. So I want to make sure that we understand that. That's part of our conscious understanding. In regard to listening, how we interpret a child's thought or expression, we may not everyone is a psychotherapist that is capable of trying to dig deep inside their mind to try to understand, but we can ask questions. Here's an example. A child points to a giraffe and says, "Oh, that giraffe is purple with pink polka dots." Instead of opposing the child, we can ask the child, what makes it purple with pink polka dots? So asking question is a great way to better understand how the child feels.
Do you know what, Dr. Khanh Tran? I think a lot of parents, when the kid come and say that, the parent will correct them and say, no, the giraffe is not that color. This is the right answer. So why is that wrong? When you correct your children, if they say something, it's like outrageous and you try to correct them and to the right thing, will you encourage to say that? And why, we should not?
Yeah, we want to correct that because we parent from a place of concern. We want them to see what we see, and that's okay. But keep in mind, the child sees what she sees. And eventually, you know what happens? The child ends up being an adult. They will figure out themselves that the giraffe is not purple with pink polka dots on it, right? But what they do or what they're sharing is actually, in fact, not wrong, because it comes from a place of imagination. It comes from a place of invention. So there is no right or wrong. There's a time to educate our child, and I get that. I understand that, and that is important. But we have to be very mindful. At the expense of their creativity, they could lose that, because in their mind, we are actually pointing out that they are wrong, or they are inadequate, or they are incompetent. And that's probably the message they will send, because it doesn't make sense to them, the adult world entirely, because they're not yet adults, but they'll figure it out.
I see. So now that we go to the first tip is good listener. What is the second tip?
I emphasize this a lot because it is very important. There are actually 3 ways to teach a child. I'm just going to emphasize this one particular essential skill. And we don't think of it as a skill because it is not practical enough And that essential ingredient or skill is being a good role model. Again, when I tell a parent that, it's not practical to them. It can't make sense, or they can't make sense of it, but it is very important and essential skill, because children are born to mimic us. So they're watching us. They're hyper vigilant and hyper aware. So anything and everything we do, they will catch on. And some of the things we do, they will identify with. So being a good role model is very important.
So let's say if we tell the children, do not be late, and then we late, that's not a good role model, right?
Yes. Yes.
Or we tell the children that
telling the child to get off their electronics while you're on the phone, probably not good role modeling right? Or screaming at a child while they're in the room is not good role modeling, because when you're speaking to a child, you expect them to look at you, then you should be expected to look at them, when you're talking to them too. So there are many examples and many mistakes we make.
But what if we already make mistakes? Okay, today we learn the tip from you. It's not too late. However, for some parents, they already been doing that for many years. How to fix that? How to fix something from the good listener, or to be in the role model when we constantly have to, because of work, or answer the email or text, but we tell kids that you're not allowed to be on a device.
Yes. I want to address the mistake part. I appreciate that you share that, because the first mistake a parent makes will not be the only mistake. It will be followed by 10,000 more mistakes, which will be followed by 10,000 others. So there is no perfect parenting at all.
Okay.
Even if you're a conscious parent, but mistakes are wonderful. As a matter of fact, that's number 3 essential essential skill of parenting. I need for you to make a mistake. I want for you to make a mistake, and you have no choice. You're human. You're going to make a mistake. But that's okay too, because what mistakes do, and this is why it's an essential skill, you learn from it. You're going to repeat it on top of having it repeated over and over, but that's okay. You can take that mistake and you learn from that. For example, if you realize your tone was too harsh, and you recognize that, and it may have hurt his or her feelings, you've made a mistake. You are humble enough to go back to the child, and you can share your mistake. That is a fantastic way to teach children how to take accountability.
How to do that? So, for example, can you give an example if the parent, when they make mistake, and how do they share that to their kid?
Very good. I would approach my child and said, I noticed that when I asked you to clean your room, my tone was very harsh. I recognize that, and I apologize. Next time, I'm going to try to be more mindful about how I approach that. This is a phenomenal process for a child to hear that, to recognize that first and foremost, that you're human and you don't have to be perfect. It allows you then to release all this tension that is the expectation that you should be a good parent. You don't have to be a good parent. You just have to be an attentive parent.
Nice. Oh, that's good to know these tips. I know it's for some parents, it will be difficult at first because you have been the authority in the house. You've been the boss. Tell your kid what to do. Hey, clean the room. Put your shoe away. Do homework. No device, right? It's all come from like the authority. And now you have to put your level the same with the child, admit your mistake. And I think sometimes it will be tough for parents to make that adjustment. But once if they can do that, it will help improve their relationship with the children. The children will look at them as not somebody who always yelling and mean and order them, but somebody say with a love and caring and closing to them like a friend. Is that what the approach that you could like the parent to be is more effective that way?
You expressed it very well. That's exactly what it does. And what it does when it comes from a place of love, caring, understanding, it creates a stronger bond. And when the child is able to set, with your help, this bond, a strong foundation of trust that the child can then and is allowed to go back to you, because the child is, you make yourself trustworthy. The child can share and continue to share what she needs or feels about you. So the idea of most of parenting is the strength of the bond that the parent and the child has, because that sets the foundation for all other things to come, which means if the child in the bond feels good about herself, she will feel like she has no choice but to be good for you because she wants to.
Wow, that's good. So I guess that being a parent, wearing so many hats, but one of the other hat is we should be friends with our children. So thank you for the good tip, Dr. Khanh Tran. Is there other tip that you would like to share as well? I know that when it comes to parenting, there's so many style, way of parenting. However, your way, it seems like more in a harmony. They call it Zen parenting. Is that correct?
Yes, I like to refer to it as that. And I want to make it clear it is an expression of that. That is Zen, which is harmonious or cultivating harmonious relationship. But you don't have to practice Zen. We all are also built as parents to be loving, to be caring, to be nurturing, right? To be sensitive, to be kind. And all of that plays a role in this harmonious development, which then allows the child to better or greater mature over time.
You are watching the weekly talk show, Guide to ParenTea. If you have any question and you would like to schedule the appointment with Dr. Khanh Tran to have the consultation for your particular case, which is each family, each parent relationship with their children might be different, you can call this number 307 655 5510. Again, 307 655 5510. And Dr. Khanh Tran will work with the parent and help you build your relationship with your child, especially for those who currently have a broken relationship. It takes time to build and gain the trust and build it back. So back to Dr. Khanh Tran, you gave a true essential parenting tip, which is good listener and be the role model. What other tip that you would like to add on?
Yes. And also the third was actually it's okay to make mistakes.
Oh, yes.
And the fourth, be positive as opposed to being punitive. So be positive, not punitive. Now, I get that our culture has a tendency to punish children, thinking that that is an effective way to try to get the child to do what we need them to do. And that is in fact true. They will do it, but they will do it with a whole lot of pain, a whole lot of suffering. So being positive here, meaning when you engage with them and you're getting the child to do what you need them to do, you can instruct them to do it, describe it to them, but do it in a particular tone, meaning do it calmly and do it matter-of-factly, and yet continue to be sensitive and compassionate. Very important that in order the child to feel good or be good, they have to feel it inside them. Because it makes no sense in our attempt to try to make our child feel good by making them feel bad.
Wow. So if the children make a mistake, you should not punish them. What do we do to correct that?
You do just that, you can correct. But punishment is an entirely different thing. Or what I do when my child, I'll give you an example. I bought a brand new iPad. She was playing with it. She dropped it on the concrete and it completely shattered.
Hmm.
And that was an accident. It was a mistake.
Yes.
And it was a beautiful thing to me.
Hmm.
I got over to her, got down on her level, and I said to her, if whenever you ever have a child that breaks something important to you, you make sure you give her or him a hug.
Hmm.
Letting her know, my child, that it's okay. And I still have that iPad. It's completely shattered the screen. But guess what? My child will always be more important than that iPad.
Wow. That's a very good tip, because I know most parents, first thing they do, they will yell at the kid. Like, why do you do that? Blah, blah. You know how expensive it is? You know, mom and dad save up like the whole month to buy this one for you and you just ruin it. Okay, your punishment money, no more device for you for the entire month. Or, you know, you have to do some house chore to earn it or to make it up for that. Or, you know, go to the room and stand in the wall or something. I know most parents would do that because we think that by punish, the children will learn the lesson and they will never, ever do that again.
And the one thing they will learn for sure is that not to trust you again because they're scared of you. So allow them to make those mistakes. It's okay. Give them a hug and let them know that they're okay. Because after they do something wrong, they'll look up at you and then they're waiting for that response. And depending on your response, down deep inside, whatever that response is that you give will determine whether they feel good or feel bad about themselves.
So what if not at the first time that they do that, but they keep repeating the same mistake? What would you do? You give them a hug each time?
I cannot imagine any child who would wake up first thing in the morning and say to themselves, I'm going to make a mistake again, so my mom and dad will be disappointed at me. A mistake is a mistake. It's not intentional. So when they make a mistake again, guess what? You give them 2 hugs. And then a third time, you have no choice at that point but to give them 3 hugs. So that's the way of life. You know, we all make mistakes. Before we point out how incompetent our children are, let's count our mistakes. I mean, think about the mistakes we make, right? It is in the way we look at them. It is in the way we speak to them. It is in the way we discipline them. It is in the way we listen to them. And even if we think we're listening, it is in the way that we don't hear them. I can go on and on. We make a lot of mistakes, maybe hundreds just in a day, in the way that we engage with our children.
Well, I thought you say that the first time give hug, the second 2 hug, and the third time have no choice but yelling at them. Because that time the parent grow out the patience. But other people would think that, Dr. Khanh Tran, if your advice is doing that repetitive, would that encourage the kid think that maybe that's the right thing to do and make mistake?
That's adult thinking. Yes, and I get it, right? But it may not relate to how the child is experiencing the world. We think that they will, we are encouraging that. That's a myth. Yeah, we're going to do a show on myth parenting one day, but we have to be very cautious making that assumption because children are actually built also not only want to attach to us, They are more so built to evolve and to learn. By the time they're 4 years old, their ability to learn and how they process information is equivalent of that of a genius. That's why many kids so young, you're surprised when they know what they know. They're absorbing anything and everything. Mistakes just come with the learning. They're not going to repeat it because they're intentionally being reinforced to do that. That's a myth. They want to get better, but maybe their coordination is not as great. So maybe they're not processing information fast enough in order to maintain. There are many reasons why children make mistakes, as there are many reasons why we as adults make mistakes. I think the worst of the reason we adults make mistakes is because we're ignorant. That's the difference.
Today, Dr. Khanh Tran, you share with us many great tips for being parent. And I myself, as a parent, I see the tip would help the parent more patient, more loving, caring, and patient with your children. And think about that. The world out there is so harsh. Who will love your children the most if it's not you? So if the children get the love, the caring from their parent, they will grow up to be appreciative and loving and confident, because they know that even if they make mistakes, the parent will forgive them, and it's part of the learning process. And who say that we not make mistake in our life? So going back in time, we used to be children as well. And what do we wish our parent or the adult to treat us? Our children the same way. So Dr. Khanh Tran, again, I really appreciate the tip that you provide for parenting. I'm going to start applying that tonight. First thing is be the role model. My number one problem is I constantly on my device. Sometimes my kids said that, Mom, I think you love the phone more than us, because I use the phone for email, for texting, for social media, and a lot of things. The phone is convenient, it's small, and then you can do, cooking or cleaning, and you can be able to, look at that. So I need to set an example by maybe put this away instead of telling my kid not to use it, and here I am on the phone. So that's number one thing that I would do. But beside that, we talk about the good listener. We talk about allowing to make mistake as a parent. We talk about the set as a role model and be positive. These are 4 tips, right? What other tip that you have to add on?
Well, setting limits, meaning, and here's the catch, setting limits for ourselves. So an example is a lot of us are on our devices because that's part of our work. Mm-hmm. So setting limits means understanding that the child needs us, our children need us more so. So we make the time setting limits by setting it aside so we can stay present to our child. Here's another example of setting limits, teaching a child to be more respectful. This is a perfect example I bring up often, and that is before you enter their room, ask them what it is. Ask them for permission to enter their room. When you go to a restaurant and you're ordering, ask them what they want to order and allow them to. So setting limits here is setting limits on how you are reacting and responding to the child. It allows the child the liberation, the freedom to be his or herself, which is a process of maturity. When the child can determine for him or herself and that he or she understand that we respect her through these limitations, these limits, the child will identify with it and also take on the same. So the child will learn before they enter your room, they will ask as well. So setting limits.
Or maybe knock first and say, may I come in?
That is the most proper way to do it. Absolutely, yes.
Okay. Well, that's good. Well, thank you, Dr. Khanh Tran, for all the essential tips for being a good parent. And we are human. We make mistakes. We should learn, and eventually the children will see that. They will see the change that the parent made, an effort that we try to make to help build a relationship with our own children, though that we love so much. But sometimes we don't show that in a loving way. So maybe because we think that if we show that we love our kid too much, the kid gonna be spoiled and they're gonna be bad kid and they're not gonna be, disciplined. So some parents, they want to put discipline so that the kid will be tough on the kid, so that they ready to be in the outside world is so harsh, and people out there would not gonna treat your kid like the way you treat them. So prepare them for the real world, for the reality. Maybe in the next topic we will talk more about different way of how that we can discipline the children. And also the thing that I feel like concern most parents the most is dealing with teenager. They said that when our children were young, they were so lovable. They listen to parents, they do whatever the parent tell them to do. But when they get to the teenager age, and that the whole world is upside down. The kid was like rebel. They would not listen. They were disrespectful, and they do the opposite with what the parent told. Maybe the future episode we will dive more into that. But for the time being of today, we will end the show with just to again introduce Dr. Khanh Tran, our esteemed co-host. Dr. Khanh Tran is a psychotherapist who attained his doctorate degree at the Florida School of Professional Psychology. He has a private practice located in Sheridan, Wyoming. He works with different populations, including those struggling with a variety of mental illness. He is a trained cognitive behavioral therapist with an interest in mindfulness, consciousness practice. His special interest is in working with children and families. He and his wife, Dr. Vivian Tran, are currently working on a book titled Raising Conscious Parents, a contemplative approach to parenting begins by way of self-discovery. For those of you, again, who are watching the show and who need help from Dr. Khanh Tran to give you advice and guidance on how to fix a broken relationship that you currently have with your children, please call 307-655-5510 and to book a private consultation with Dr. Khanh Tran. For all the viewers, I want to say thank you for watching the show. We would like to hear some feedback from you. Any topic related to parenting that you would like to Dr. Khanh Tran to talk about, please inbox us or send us a message or call us, and we will implement that in the future show. And you think this talk show is helpful or benefit, please share that and subscribe to our channel so you won't miss any new show coming. And I want to say thank you to Dr. Khanh Tran again for your time to be with us every week to share your wisdom and expertise in this field. When it comes to parenting, it's a lot of technique, a lot of good tip out there, but not many parents know about. So because we were so busy with our life and we don't have time to learn or to know about the tip. So having you, Dr. Khanh Tran, here with us, be our guidance and support, that means a lot to personally to myself as a parent and to our viewer out there. Thank you.
And I thank you again for inviting me back onto the show, and I appreciate that. It is something that I'm passionate about, this journey, and to help parents to be more conscious of their situation so that they can have a better relationship with their children.
Once again, thank you, Dr. Khanh Tran. And let's toast on the teas, and I will see you next week with the same topic, ParenTea, Guide to Help Strengthening the Parent and Children Relationship. Thank you, and see you all next time.